Welcome to the Lincoln City Council meeting of June 23rd, 2025. Please be advised a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted at the back of the chambers by the northwest door. Let us all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a short moment of silence, silent meditation. Please remain standing if you are able. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The order of business of the City Council is as follows. The clerk will call items listed on the agenda. Under public hearing, anyone wishing to speak on an item must first register and sign in at the table located in the lobby. The council shall require any member of the public addressing the council to identify themselves, the name of any organization represented by such persons, and their address, unless the address is waived to protect the security of the individual. Each speaker should state whether they are speaking in favor of or in opposition to the item. Testimony is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item shall come forward after the clerk reads that item and the applicant has presented. After public comments, the applicant may make one short rebuttal. After all public hearings, the council will vote on resolutions and items listed under third reading. On the second and last Mondays of the month, immediately prior to adjournment, anyone may speak on any issue not on the agenda for that date, nor planning for a future agenda. We ask that all speakers strive for civility and allow the business of council to proceed unimpeded. Will the clerk please call the first item of business?
Our first item of business today for our City Council meeting of Monday, June 23rd, 2025 is a reminder that due to the Independence holiday, we will not meet on July 7th of 2025. Next would be our consent agenda, sections 1, 2, and sections 3.
All right, is there anyone from the city to present on the consent agenda? If so, please come forward. Seeing none, anyone from the public like to comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, clerk, please move forward.
I'll call the vote. Item 1A is reappointing Jennifer Seacrest and J.J. Totzek to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for terms to expire April 27th, 2028, introduced by Shob.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Beckius. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Shob,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1B is reappointing Jamie Wenz and Timothy Klein to the Telecommunication Cable Television Advisory Board for terms to expire July 1st of 2028, introduced by Shob.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Beckius. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Bowers,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Shob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1C is reappointing Josephine Rodriguez to the Commission on Women and Gender for a term to expire November 23rd, 2027, introduced by Shob.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Beckius. Any discussion?
Is this person here?
I'm not sure. We have a question if the person is here in the audience, the appointee.
Usually for reappointments, they do not appear.
The director is here of the commission.
Who's that?
Director Reyes.
Oh, yeah, I have a question.
Welcome, Director.
Good afternoon.
Can you just, how long has this person been on the board?
For several years, so there's ability to have, you can take into account filling unfilled positions, like if they have someone that leaves early, they could come in and fill remaining time on terms. So this would be an additional 3-year term. She just finished a 3-year term.
And did she have some time before that?
Yes, yes, she had different combinations of terms prior to that.
Okay, all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on this? Go ahead, please call the roll.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
No.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-1. Okay. That concludes our consent agenda. We move on to Section 4, Public Hearing Liquor Resolutions. I'll call items 4A and 4B together. Item 4A and B is application of Casey's Retail Company doing business as Casey's 4597 for a Class D liquor license located at 2720 Enterprise Drive, and the related manager application of Crystal Carter.
Hi,
Welcome. Go ahead and state your name
my name is Cassie Gomez.
and the address.
My physical address is 405 North 30th, Ashland.
All right, and tell us a little bit about the application.
Yeah, so new build here off the interstate, so just looking to get a liquor license for that location.
Great. Any questions from council? All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this application? Seeing none, we'll move forward.
I'll call item 4C and 4D together. Item 4C and D is application of Sage Dope LLC doing business as Bodegas Alley for a Class C liquor license located at 1418 O Street, and the related manager application of Andrew Intrieri.
Intrary. Yeah. It's tough. Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Wish it was easier.
All right, welcome.
Good afternoon. Yeah,
ahead.
Andrew Intrary, 1418 O Street, right across from the Bourbon Theater. Been around since 1996. Just took it over. New ideas, new management, new purpose.
Great, great. Any questions for the applicant?
Thank you, Council Chair. How long have you been operating on the temporary permit?
We are now, it would have been May 22nd, so bad with math, but some change there. So we're getting
Almost a month.
Yes, and then it ends somewhere in August, beginning of August.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I see that you've signed up for training, so.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
I would have done it last week, but I was out of town for my other business, so sorry about that.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Becky is first. Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming down. You mentioned new management, new ideas.
Yeah.
Anything in particular you want to share? Bodegas has been a long storied history here in our
Yeah.
community, and just wanted to get an idea as to if there were specifics that you were talking
Yeah,
about.
I'd love to. So basically, live music venue. We plan on taking that to every day, having an event, and we've done that besides Tuesdays. Tuesdays, we are now bringing in music bingo, so if you're interested. But we have an event every day. Also, we created a steel cup promotion, so it is something where you would purchase a signature drink. It comes in a 16-ounce steel cup, keeps your drink nice and cold. With that, you would pour that out at the door, take it home with you, bring it back. It's forever 50% off. So, one cool thing. And then management-wise, cleanliness, don't want to get too deep into it, but we actually have a cleaning regimen every Sunday now.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilman Cho.
Say the last name one more time.
Intrary.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much.
All right, I
to
think
go.
that's all our questions. Appreciate it.
Fantastic.
So,
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? Seeing none, we can go ahead and proceed.
I'll call item 4C, manager application of Madison Tillman for Acme Widget Company, doing business as Paisanos located at 2740 South Street.
All right, welcome. Go ahead and state your name and then address first. That's all
Madison
right.
Tillman, 2740 South Street. We are just changing our liquor manager to me. So we don't employ the last one anymore. So it's now my turn.
Sounds good. Any questions for the applicant?
Thank you.
All right, looks like no questions. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming down. Any public comment on this application? please come forward now.
Mr.
Seeing none?
Mr. Chair, seeing no one else coming forward, I'd like to make a motion that we approve items 4A through 4E.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded by Washington. We'll go ahead and call the roll.
Bowers,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Okay, that concludes section 4. We'll move on to section 5, public hearing resolutions. I'll call item 5A, accepting and approving the report of new and pending claims against the city from May 16th through May 31st of 2025.
All right. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address council on pending claims? Please come forward.
Hello.
Welcome. Go ahead and start with your name and.
Brad Buffum, B-U-F-F-U-M,
Okay.
2338 P Street. I'm the president of the Antelope Creek Village Townhome Owners Association.
Okay.
And I filed a claim
Right.
that was denied.
Sorry, I'm pulling it up here too. Can you tell us about your concern, I guess, with the claim?
I could, but I'd rather say that the contractor contacted me right before this meeting and they've agreed to reimburse us.
Okay. So essentially, no
think
other
we're-
action
I think we're
required,
done.
right? So,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
I think that's the first time this happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Councilman Becky.
Brad, thanks for coming down. So you're okay with where we are in terms of?
I would love to delay it, a decision on the denial until they've paid, but I'm not sure that's an option.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Go ahead. Councilwoman.
Chair
Yeah.
Carlson, I don't have a question, but thank you for bringing us a delightful piece of unusually good news.
I'm happy to help.
All right.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that'd like to address council on pending claims? Please come forward.
Yes. James Taylor. I'm representing my mother, Audrey K. Taylor. She resides at 1835 Lake Street here in Lincoln. We were denied a claim due to damages that were caused by a SWAT team on one of her rental properties on October 17th, 2024. Received a letter denying the claim on May 29th. It was incorrectly addressed to Audrey R. Taylor, which has been another confused issue where they misidentified her as someone else in the past. But the claim was for damages to water line as a result of the SWAT team entering the house and thinking that a panel was hiding something. I'm not sure what the warrant on the that was served, what it was pertaining. I'm assuming it was drugs, but to my knowledge, no one was arrested, no one was charged. Claim was for $140. Upon further review, the damage was much more substantial, probably more in the $500 range. But here today to have that denial reviewed, because I'm not sure what I could not get the assistant city attorney to explain to me why it was denied, and maybe the council can explain that to me.
Council questions? Go ahead, Councilman Duden.
I take it this was a rental property? Yes. And so you had tenants in the property? Correct. While the SWAT team served the warrant? Correct. And you say there were no arrests made? None that I'm aware of. Okay.
No one was charged with any crime. There were no drugs found. Were you holding a damage deposit?
Yes.
That was for what?
That's for damages that the tenants do to the property, which our tenants are Henry and Tanisha Raleigh. They have 5 kids, range from about 5 years old up to 22. So they have an active household. And from Tanisha's, statement to myself and my mother, she left the house to go to take a relative to work, leaving home. Her 12-year-old was sick, asleep in bed. The 20-year-old was asleep because he was just got home off work. But she received a call from Officer Alex of the SWAT team that they were at the house inquiring about a family member allowed to stay at the house for a few days because he had nowhere to stay. Did their search of the house. She said they called me, told me that they were done. Officer thought that the wall in the broom closet was fake or something. And she returned and there were 3 holes in it. Looked like they were punch holes. With that being done to the wall, the pipes behind the wall were broken because the wall was to the shower. So, and the water was leaking, so they had to turn off the water until it was able to be fixed. So I'm not saying the police, police have a difficult enough job, trying to determine, actual laws being broken. But in this case, there were no laws broken. There was no one charged. There was only property of a 70-year-old widow that was damaged. So I'm not sure who's responsible for that. I'm pretty sure it's not her.
Other questions? Councilman Bowers?
I think
sorry.
Councilman Bowers had his hand up earlier.
Are they still living there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you plan on returning their deposit to them?
It depends. They haven't moved out yet. So assessment of all the, inconsistencies with the home will be, she's planning to sell the home soon. So once that is determined, then we'll determine the appropriate amount.
Have you made a statement or made an agreement with the residents that regardless of what happens here, because what I'm hearing you say is that it was no fault of the residents that were living there.
No.
What I'm in hearing you say that, have there been anything that's been amended into your agreement that when they do move out that they will then receive their security deposit back for damages if they're unrelated to this incident?
Right. Yeah, the net damages will be assessed. We had a discussion, last Sunday. Actually, went over and spoke with them, and they're very nice people. But actually, they were. My mom had wanted to give them an opportunity to buy the home. Their credit was not approved, so but she does need to sell it. So they are going to be moving out at some point when the house is sold.
Okay.
Councilman Washington.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming down, Mr. Taylor. I do have a couple of questions. I've seen a couple of instances where LPD has been called out to a residence with a warrant or and done a search, and so I just want to make certain I understand the situation. Are you aware of why LPD was called out to the property?
Not specifically. I can make some assumptions, but I don't. I've got the warrant, but.
And would you mind reading the warrant?
What was that?
If you have a copy of the warrant, would you mind reading the warrant, please?
The offenses: narcotics, other weapons, other narcotics, equipment, paraphernalia. Were on the public incident report as the offenses that they thought were.
Okay, so there. It sounds like there was a reason LPD was called out to the property, and they were correct in searching the property. Are you claiming that their search was haphazard, disrespectful?
All the above.
Oh, okay.
A little reckless. I don't think there was any indication that the occupants were uncooperative.
Okay, and
I'm not sure what the reason was for pounding a hole in the wall.
I believe you said earlier that they thought there was something hidden in a false wall, or that it was a hollow
It wasn't a
space?
false wall, it was the
Well,
shower.
okay, it was the shower. All right. I think I maybe will ask a question of law or LPD instead.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions at this time? Oh, Councilman
Yes.
Shu.
Following up on what as Councilwoman Washington suggested, I'd like to speak with someone from legal. I have a couple questions about the Civil Claims Tort Act. Would someone from legal come up and answer some questions for me, please?
Lily Ely, Assistant City Attorney, 555 South 10th.
Ms. Ely, thanks for coming forward. We see claims against the city almost every other week. We do get a chance to talk about these quite often. Usually there's something that there's damage occurred to someone's property, and the question is usually, was the city negligent, or did we know in advance that some natural disaster was going to occur? Does that also extend to the police department in the performance of their duties as law enforcement?
It does, yes. In this type of a situation when we're talking about property damage, yes.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. So when law looks at claims, with the exception of one specific type of warrant, which is not at issue here, so I'm not going to go into it, it's very similar. We just look at whether LPD was operating within the course and scope of their employment as officers of the law have to do, and whether there was negligence. And in my opinion, in reviewing the officers' reports, speaking with the officers, I don't believe that there's negligence.
Anyone whose name, I'm sorry, I can't. What was your name again, sir?
James Taylor.
As Mr. Taylor said, that officers tried to access an access port for plumbing, and he suggested that they were negligent in opening that panel. Was there any evidence of that, or how would you determine whether that was negligent or not?
So that's going to be factually based in this case. In reviewing reports, speaking with officers, they had reason to believe something or someone was behind that panel, and so they breached it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You have additional questions?
I think that really answers my questions. I mean, it sounds like they were,
I'm sorry, I can't see who's talking.
There's-
Okay. Yeah, if you'd like to come forward, that'd be great. Okay, if you could go ahead, first off, yes, if you could come forward first, please, and state your name and address for the record.
Taylor, 1835 Lake Street. And the property is a property I've owned since I moved to Lincoln a couple years ago. It was my first property, and then I saw this other house that I wanted, so I decided to rent that one out. But the officer that was there told my renter that she needed to file a claim through the city attorney, and that's what I did. So if they knew that they had done things legally, then why did he tell her that? And then they gave an assessment of what the damage was. And the funny thing is, there was nothing there that indicated there was anything on the other side. The bathroom was right there. It was like a little closet it's like a room closet, because they had to close off part of it so the shower could be there. They neglected to even see that there was an attic in one of the hallways, or one of the closets in one of the bedrooms, that they could have looked up and seen if there was anything in the attic. They did not do that. It was a place that you could step up, push something, and look up there. That's where people could have been hidden, but they didn't even do that. So that doesn't even make sense that they would found a hole in a wall that was going into the bathroom that they could see was a shower in there. If they went around the corner, oh, there's a shower there. That's why they closed that off. So that's about all I have to say. And the thing is that as soon as Tanisha called me, because I was not told by police this had happened, I got a call from her saying, I want you to come over. I'm sorry this happened, but I do not keep house this way. And they had turned everything upside down. And she says, I think we were targeted. Why did she say that? I've never rented to a black family. I thought they were needy. And it's like, just because they were black, they felt they were targeted? It's like, oh, Tanisha, I don't think that's right? But I says, you're a nice family, you're nice people, I wouldn't have rented to you if I didn't think you were, so. But because they had relatives that maybe weren't, for some of them, maybe not the nicest relatives, and he needed someplace to stay, they let him stay. So that's probably all I have to say about that. And thank you for listening. I don't know why a $140 claim that the police said that there was that much damage would have to have me and get my son to come to a council meeting, because that doesn't seem necessary to me. If they would have told me that ahead of time, that this was in the police's realm of things they do and there was nothing I could do about it, I probably would, just like, okay, $140. I think the plumber did me a good deal, maybe he knew that, because it wasn't $140 for breaking a pipe. Doesn't seem like very much for a plumber charge today. So I paid more, I guess. So that basically is all I have to say.
All right.
Thank
Any
you.
questions? Council, one
I do.
question.
Mrs. Taylor, thank you for coming forward. Are you telling us that the police officer said, we know we've done damage and so make a claim?
Yes.
Or did they say, if you would like to, you can make a claim?
She told me that he had told her to have me file the claim, and he gave her to call or to go on the online, and do that. So I got the online information and filed the claim and sent it to the city council.
Who is the he and who is the she? I got confused.
The police officer?
The police officer is,
The tenant.
the tenant
Yeah. The
said,
information.
okay, thank you. So the tenant said she.
And she liked him a lot.
She
I
said
mean,
that
he said
the
he was-
officer told her he.
And she
Okay,
said
thank
Officer
you.
Alex, and then the two
Alex,
officers
yeah.
listed on the
Okay, I just wanted to,
Salcedo and Belmonte.
Yeah.
okay, I just wanted to understand he and she.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
And I feel bad because the SWAT team came and they have a lot of kids come and go and their friends come and go, all the time. The neighbors probably have some idea about the family. And that's probably one of the reasons why, we said we were going to sell the house, and they offered to buy it and then told me later they couldn't afford to buy it. Maybe that's not the best neighborhood for them as far as, they love the house, but, it's not going to be available for them. And I'm sorry about that.
All right. Any other questions?
No.
All right. You can
Okay,
go ahead and have
thank you.
a seat. Thank you.
I would like to make a comment, though.
Okay. Councilman Newton.
I would like to make a comment because, you brought up that issue of targeting. And number one, the police department files an affidavit, has to go in front of a judge. A judge has to approve the warrant. Police can't serve the warrant unless it's approved. And so they have to have probable cause, and that's all articulated in the affidavit. For the SWAT team to be serving a warrant, there had to be some safety issues involved instead of just regular officers serving the warrant. So there's a lot of things that are in play here that I'm sure we don't have privy to. We don't have all the information. It would be impossible. And I think the officer, in explaining, yeah, you have some damage here, here's the process for you. I think that's just kind of a common sense kind of thing that the officers passed on to the tenant there. So it's really hard for us as council members to know exactly all of the circumstances involved in this type of a matter. And so I hope you understand that. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead and have a seat.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Is there anyone else that would like to address council on claim resolutions? Please come forward now. Seeing none, we can go ahead and proceed.
I'll call items 5B and 5C together. Items 5B and C is adopting Lincoln Electric System revised annual budget for 2025 to become effective July 1st of 2025, and adopting the related Lincoln Electric System revised rate schedules to become effective July 1st of 2025.
All right, welcome.
Hello. I'm Emily Koenig, representing LAS, 9445 Rokeby Road. So we've been here a couple weeks ago. We don't have a prepared presentation for you. Just wanted to note that we're here and available if you have any questions. To our knowledge, I think we've addressed all questions that have been outstanding from last time and some that have come up since our last meeting. So I'm just going to take a seat over here unless you have anything for me.
All right,
Okay.
any questions for LES at this time?
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilman Duden. I didn't see you.
Emily, I did send you some questions, and I also pursued some questions through one of your board members as well.
Okay.
And I thought it was interesting to learn that Lincoln has been under inflation with the increases for the last 30 years.
Yes, we have.
And so we've kind of been coasting.
Yep.
On improvements and enhancements to the electrical grid and things like that.
Yes.
And so it actually convinced me that this 4% request was definitely needed, and I just want to let you know I support it. So.
Okay. I bet I know who you talked to, probably. It might be his favorite chart that we do, but yeah, we've been, we kind of call it the doing more with less chart because we have our rate.
Smart people.
Yeah, our rate increase has been trailing inflation, but I did respond to those questions and sent an email this morning, so if you haven't had a chance to look at that, but I'll just park over here in case there's any response we want to make to any comments.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this? Please come forward now. Welcome.
My name is Anastasia Fenner. I'm going to waive my address for my own safety. All cost is a barrier. All cost is a barrier. And this is going to negatively affect people because we haven't been smart enough to figure out how to just give everyone power, which everyone needs, right? That is a need in this modern age, particularly if you're disabled and say you need, to plug back in your wheelchair, you need to plug in your sleep apnea machine, right? All cost is a barrier. And the city is on purpose acknowledging that they don't care, that people's power will be shut off. They are not doing anything clever to try to keep their citizens safe in a time where the summers are brutal and the winters are equally brutal. I don't know if y'all checked temperature last winter, but did get down into the negative 20s. And it does get into the triple digits, over 100 degrees here in Lincoln. There are people that are actively going to die of heat stroke. There are people that are already struggling. All cost is a barrier. People who have never had their power shut off, who will never have their power shut off, are the ones that are making the decision to shut your power off. Because there's no increase in wages that are happening. There's no controls on the rent. Food prices are skyrocketing. People are being incredibly squeezed. People are going to suffer. People are already suffering from the lack of good decision making and creativity from this body already. People that have never had their power shut off get to make that decision. And that is the disgrace, that the city is not trying to use its money and power to make sure that all of its citizens have clean water, have electricity that works, that has food in their bellies. Because all these people that are suffering are people that make the city run, that make your coffee, right? Who keep your hallways clean. who feed your kids when you're at school. Well, when they're at school. Also, if you're in school, if you're in college, yeah, those people too that are serving you, also suffering. Last week, well, the last time there was a city council meeting, because these guys, they get to take a holiday off that the rest of us don't. There was a father of 4 living with in-laws making $85K a year that still struggles to get those bills paid. Another single person mentioned how they also seem relatively financially privileged. They've had their power shut off. And when your power gets shut off, you know what you have to do? Yeah, you have to pay a gigantic fee and able to get it to be able to get it back. Not having power will take people's lives. There is already neighborhoods in town where we can see that it's in the red, where we can see the average age of people dying there is in their 50s. Do you think that making power more expensive is going to help them or is going to hurt them? So a lot of those people are disabled too. The city is actively choosing cruelty, especially when they have over $760 million cash on hand.
All right, is there anyone else that would like to address this issue?
Don't speak up, because we'll never hear your pain.
All right, we'll go ahead and move forward. Excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah, I just would have a question for LES real quick, and I'm not sure exactly the best member to answer this, but, and this is going to be a little bit of a recap of last week, but the SWPP, right, or
PP?
Yes, SPP, Southwest Power Pool, yeah. We're here today, and we were here at our last meeting because of new regulations, right?
Yes.
The regulations, what is the intent behind the power pools new regulations? Is it guided around reliability of the power grid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So they're prompted primarily after Winter Storm Uri type events to increase reliability for the power grid.
Okay.
Yep.
And so the action that the Lincoln Electric System's taking as a member of the Southwest Power Pool is to have a more reliable power grid while avoiding a potential penalty for not meeting these regulations that will provide ratepayers reliable energy. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was clear for those watching and worried about the reliability of power, making sure that power is not being shut off. I would welcome to the members of LES, which I do think have a fantastic leadership team and staff all around, a continued conversation on impact on ratepayers, especially getting updates on the EAP, the assistance program, shutoffs, seeing kind of how it's impacting ratepayers and making sure that we can continue a dynamic dialogue while making sure that the citizens of Lincoln have reliable power.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Washington.
Thank you, Chair Carlson. Councilman Weber, thank you so much for your comments. I was going to ask a question that sort of tags on to where you ended your comments. I was curious because I know that there have been a lot of people at the last public hearing on this topic, and certainly I've heard from a number of ratepayers on the similar topic about increases and how it has real pocketbook issues. I completely understand the reason for the reliability of the grid and why the changes are being made to the grid and why the costs are going up. But I am curious if you wouldn't mind taking just a moment to explain the EAP, the assistance program, and what can low-income utility users expect in regards to perhaps an increase in funding for for their needs?
Sure. So I think it was in the early 2000s the LES board adopted through a resolution a contribution to the energy assistance program that's administered through the community action program to assist those struggling to pay their bill. And it is dictated by every time we have a rate increase or an increase in number of customers, that balance increases. So we collect that money every year and we turn it over to the community action program for them to administer. So we don't administer it, they determine need and allocate those funds. In addition, customers can certainly call LES and we can put them in touch with additional resources to either help with bill assistance or getting to the root cause of the problem. If they have inefficient homes or rental properties that they're living in, we can assist with solutions for that as well, which really is getting at the root cause of the energy burden that they have and lowering that bill overall rather than just helping to pay the bill.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Really appreciate that, Ms. Koenig.
Other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We can go ahead and proceed, clerk.
We can now call the vote. Item 5A is accepting and approving the report of new and pending claims against the city from May 16th through May 31st, 2025, introduced by Shob.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Weber. Go ahead and call the roll.
Or any discussion?
Or any discussion. Thank you.
I would make a motion to move the Antelope Creek Village Townhome Owners Association to pending until the settlement is determined. I know that Mr. Buffman came and testified about that earlier, and if that's true, I think it's fine to keep it on pending for an additional few weeks.
I'll second that.
Do you want to have a date certain on that, just for our records, or put it out of?
No, I don't think a date's are in. I just think
Okay.
moving it to the pending list.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Just for
Question?
clarification, you mean pending from denied to pending instead of pending date certain?
I want to move it from the denied list
Yes,
to the
that's
pending
what you
list.
To the
Yes.
pending list within the report of claims
Yes.
against the city?
Yes.
Just because
Yep.
we use pending
Yeah, no,
in
the
multiple
pending
ways.
claims report.
Yes. City Attorney's.
I'm just coming up here in case there's the way I understand it, the request is to put it on pending. We would ask that there not be a date.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to pass, but certainly our position would be that if it's going to be moved, that it just move to pending.
Depending.
So,
Okay. Thank you. Okay, motion's been made and seconded. We can go ahead and call the roll on the
Beckius?
motion.
Who
Beckius?
provided the second? Oh, thank you.
Was it? Yeah, Bowers.
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Shob?
No.
Carlson?
Yes.
Motion carried. 6-1.
Now we'll move to the main motion.
Beckius?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Shob?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Okay. Item 5B is adopting Lincoln Electric System revised annual budget for 2025 to become effective July 1st of 2025, introduced by Bowers.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Beckius. Any discussion?
I just want to say that I appreciate the council's willingness to have two opportunities for the public to come and provide public comment on this. With this being a resolution, typically the first reading, there is no public comment, and it's just on our agenda. Then the second reading, there is a hearing that happens. In this case, we allowed a public hearing at both readings of this, which allowed the public to have more time to digest this information. And I'm glad the council had allowed the public an opportunity to get their voice heard on this.
Great. Any other discussion? Seeing none, go ahead and proceed. Call the roll.
Washington?
Yes.
Shob?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 5C is adopting Lincoln Electric System revised rate schedules to become effective July 1st, 2025, introduced by Bowers.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Beckius. Any discussion? Councilman Bowers.
I just got a quick statement that I'd just like to throw out there. Initially, I was leaning towards voting in opposition for this. I was concerned about the impact that this would have on working families. But it's important to remember that this is a regulation that's being put on us by a higher authority, that would be the Southwest Power Pool. And if we're not in compliance, there's going to be a penalty, and that's going to impact working families more. In a worst case scenario, if we do not have a stable energy grid, like we saw in Texas that Jason Ball provided public comment on, that's going to lead to an increase in rates. That's going to lead to a loss of power. That could lead to a loss of life. And so we need to have a stable energy grid. And so these are hard decisions to make, but being able to make sure that we are making smart decisions for the safety of everyone in our city and protecting working families, this gets us closer to that. So that is why I'll be voting in support.
Any other discussion? Councilman Duden.
You know, I kind of wanted to reiterate the same thing because I was leaning in the same direction as Councilman Bowers on this. But I had my town hall last week, and a former LES board member was there and posed some questions, and it forced me to ask more questions. And I don't think people realize how long LES has been belonged to the Southwest Power Pool. I don't think that was ever brought up in any of the presentations. And what were the advantages of that? And not only does LES have the option to buy power at a reduced rate at sometimes, but they also can have the opportunity to sell it as well by being part of this conglomerate or cooperative, whatever you want to call it. But so I think that benefits the LES customers and ratepayers, and that's when I was informed of the how long Lincoln Electric System customers have been under inflation with increases and what have you over the years. In fact, a couple years ago, we actually had a decrease, and that wasn't really brought up in some of the presentations. So now I think it's a smart move on LES's part to be current with new technologies and enhancements to our electric system, and to avoid penalties if we didn't. And so being part of this power pool is a huge, I think, benefit for LES and the customers of Lincoln at the same time. So at first I kind of thought that they were dictating what LES had to do, and then I learned just the opposite of that. So so I wanted to just make that comment.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, go ahead and call the roll.
Bowers?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Duden?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Okay. That concludes section 5. Section 6 is our public hearing ordinances, second reading, and related resolutions. I'll call item 6A, approving an agreement for tower space and appurtenances between the city and Cellco Partnership, a Delaware partnership, Verizon Wireless, to occupy and use certain city-owned parcel of real property and tower generally located at 2201 South 84th Street.
Good afternoon. Tim C., Assistant City Attorney, bringing back a matter that's been on your pending list for a number of months now. So we first talked about this in January or February, I believe, of 2025, and at the public hearing and after that public hearing, we discovered that there was an issue with access to this cell tower. This is a cell tower located at 2201 South 84th Street. It's a former fire station there, so think of 84th and South Street. What's up here is a map. See if I can talk into the mic and explain it. So access was an issue. This is 84th Street out here. This is South Street over here. Initial plans were for the cell provider to take access off of 84th Street. That's a problem. There are no curb cuts out there. It's just a solid curb across there. Previously, they were using the driveway for the fire station and going around the fire station, getting to the tower from that location. With that having been sold off, it was determined there needed to be a better route to accomplish that. We've been going back and forth with Verizon for a few months now, and what has been determined as a solution is that there will be an access driveway built off of South Street up here. It will come across the reservoir lot and around. The city will build a gate at this location that will allow Verizon access, and then this will also be available to other providers on the tower. So creating another access along 84th Street is an issue. It's an arterial street. We would have been building turn lanes and things like that. This will allow for a driveway that is only accessible by Verizon, the city, and the other providers on that tower. The cost of the driveway is approximately $30,000. It'll be a rock driveway, which is due its length. It's about 20 feet wide. That will be paid for. It will be paid for entirely by Verizon in terms of upfront costs. The city will agree to abate the rent for 5 months to pay half the cost of that driveway. So that is what is before you. There'll be a motion to amend prior to voting next week that'll incorporate a substitute agreement that discusses all of that. But that's the resolution that's been found for this, and with that, I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
Any questions? Councilman Duden.
How close is that to the residential area that's right there? Because I thought there's kind of a building and a driveway there now, isn't there?
Yep. Let's see, bring that up again. So there is, the city owns this lot here. And there's actually a building on it. It looks like a home.
You're right.
These are all residential lots over here, going out towards 84th Street and then going to the west as well. But this is already an existing city driveway there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilwoman Washington.
Thank you for coming forward, Mr. C, and giving us an update. I thought this project was never going to move off of square zero. I'm sorry. I was wondering if it was ever going to move, and I really commend you on the creativity of finding the back door.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? No? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Is there any member of the public who'd like to comment on this item? If so, please come forward now. Seeing none, we can go ahead and proceed.
I'll call item 6B, adopting the supplement to the Lincoln Municipal Code dated June 2024 and December 2024 as part of the official Lincoln Municipal Code.
Right.
Yancey Christie, City Attorney, 555 South 10th Street. This is the written, the Lincoln Municipal Code that is in written format, and we are adjusting the changes that happened with a supplement from, I believe, June of 2024 to December of 2024. So again, it's just updating the written Lincoln Municipal Code, while the list of people that are requesting the written Lincoln Municipal Code keeps dwindling every year. It still exists, and we do still have it in written form. So, in places like libraries, stuff like we always want to have a written form there, of course. But so.
Any questions or discussions? Councilman Shob.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Christie. I have had on a couple of occasions someone ask me for a written copy. And I looked at them and said, why? And then they explained to me that they just want it. Is there a method for the public to request or purchase a written copy? Where can I direct people who ask me?
I think the easiest way is probably the library. But if they want to purchase a written copy,
they like to own their own copy.
If they would like to purchase a written copy, let us know, and we can arrange that. But we only how would I want to say this? We don't. It's not like we have a bunch of copies sitting around. We've moved to
publish on demand.
Yep, we've moved to a place where things are available online, and that's where people usually go to access that. But again, like judges and libraries and things like courtrooms, we certainly have written copies produced.
I will speak with you later about that. Thank you.
Yep, they just got to get on a list. It's basically that simple. Yep.
Any other questions?
And just to clarify for folks watching, the municipal code is different than the city charter, right?
Correct.
The city charter is a smaller document that kind of outlines, the infrastructure, of how things run. And the municipal code is something that we change, through our actions, and it's
Comes a meeting.
yeah,
Yes.
It gets updated pretty regularly, and it is at least over 1,000 pages long, I want to say.
Yeah, probably much more than that, but yes, yes.
You get what I'm saying,
Probably
like,
much more than that, yes. I haven't counted pages in a while, but yes. And the charter is also online. I didn't know but both the Lincoln Municipal Code and the Lincoln City Charter are available online.
Yep.
As searchable documents.
I'm sorry?
As searchable documents.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Is there any member of the public like to comment on this issue? If so, please come forward now. Okay, we'll go ahead and move forward.
I'll call item 6C. Item 6C is amending Title 7 of the Lincoln Municipal Code relating to ambulance transportation code by amending Section 7.04.020, 7.04.040, 7.04.050, 7.04.60, 7.04.70, 7.04130, 7.04140, 7.04150, 7.04160, 7.04170, 7.04190, 7.04200, 7.06010, 7.0620, 7.06.030, 7.06.040, 7.06.050, 7.06.060, 7.06.110, 7.06120, 7.06130, 7.08010, 7.08020, 7.08040, to update and remove outdated language by amending Chapter 7.04 definitions to add definitions for ambulance service provider, Nebraska DHHS, and transport by repealing Section 7.04.030, 7.04.080, 7.04.090, 7.04100, 7.04110, 7.04200, 7.06070, 7.06080, 7.06090, 7.06100, to remove outdated procedures and eliminate the Emergency Medical Services Oversight Authority, or EMSOA.
I want Sony on my Jeopardy team.
All right. Is there city staff to present on this? Or Councilwoman Washington?
Chair Carlson, City Attorney Christie, please come forward.
Well, yeah, I don't see anyone else coming forward. I heard city staff, so I am city staff,
We have the
city
public
attorney.
hearing portion, right?
Yes.
Yep, I think that there is a request to delay this to July 14th, and I think we will be ready for a presentation on that day.
Yeah. I just wanted to give everyone a chance who came down today to testify on this ordinance to speak, and if no one came forward, I'm going to let you do your job, Chair.
Is there anyone that would like to speak on this matter at this time? All right, seeing none.
Seeing that
Councilwoman
no one's
Washington?
come forward today clamoring to speak on this item, I would like to move forward a motion to delay with continued public hearing on this item on July 14th, 2025.
Motion's been made. Is
I'd
there a
second
second? Second by Councilman Weber.
Thank you, Councilman Weber. There is a real understanding that a lot of work has gone into these proposed changes, but there continues to be, I guess, some additional questions, and it would, I think, be easier for all of us if we could get those questions answered and have those discussions, and then bring this forward again on the 14th of July.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on that? Okay, we'll go ahead and move forward.
Schob,
This is the motion to delay, right?
Motion to delay.
Motion.
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you.
That concludes section 6. We can move on to section 7, ordinances, third reading and related resolutions. I'll call item 7A, comprehensive plan conformance 25002, declaring approximately 0.69 acres of city-owned property generally located at the northeast corner of Northwest Roundhouse Drive and West O Street as surplus. Introduced by Bowers.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Beckius. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Bowers.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Schob.
Yes.
Duden.
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7B is annexation 25003, application of Southview Inc. to annex approximately 15.27 acres of property generally located at South 79th Street and Augustine Avenue. Introduced by Bowers.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Beckius. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Schob.
Yes.
Duden.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7C is change of zone 25010, application of Southview Inc. to change the zoning designation from AG Agriculture District to R3 Residential District for approximately 15.27 acres on property generally located at South 79th Street and Augustine Avenue. Introduced by Bowers.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Beckius. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Weber.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Duden.
Yes.
Schob.
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 7D is change of zone 25007, application of District 33 LLC to change the zoning designation approximately 12.78 acres from B3 Commercial District, R2 Residential District, and O2 Office District to B3 Commercial District PUD, R2 Residential District PUD, and O2 Office District PUD on the property generally located at South 33rd Street and A Street. Introduced by Bowers.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Beckius.
Chair Carlson.
Yes, sir.
I would like to start on this this bill 25-45 with a motion to amend substitute ordinance with the additional attachments to clarify some motor vehicle uses and to attach general notes to the legislation to make that part of the record now.
Second.
Okay, amendment's been made and seconded by Washington. Any discussion? Go ahead and call that roll.
Weber.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Duden.
Yes.
Schob.
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Chair Carlson.
Yes.
I would also like to make a motion to delay the vote on this ordinance 1 week. A couple of neighborhood associations. Oh, let me stop there. I'd like to make a motion to delay the vote for 1 week.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, a couple of neighborhood associations have requested a delay, I think to learn more additional information about the district. We are at the very end point of the process. They've gone through Planning Commission, they've gone through public hearing here at City Council. Public hearing is done and over with, but I did want to allow them 1 more week to make a connection with the applicant, to have discussion. But also noting that public hearing has ended here. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Any discussion?
I have a question. Is there any appetite from the council to extend this from 1 week to 1 month to our next meeting on July 14th? I know that there's a meeting with Woods Park neighborhood that will happen on Thursday, but I'm concerned with that being just 3 days away, that would not give the folks on 40th and A enough time to gather the information they need and to review all the plans put in place. And so my question, or I guess, would there be any interest in expanding that from 1 week to July 14th?
Councilman, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Washington.
You had your hand up first.
I was just going to say I'd be supportive of that. That was all but more than happy to, yeah.
Councilwoman Washington.
Thank you, Chair Carlson. I am aware that there are neighborhood associations who have not been involved in this discussion on this project, and I can see where there was some responsibility of a city website that did not correctly list an email address for an association. So I really do see the desire and understand the reasoning for more time to understand the project. Since this was all happening very quickly today, what I want to know if the applicant has been notified, or is the applicant present?
The applicant is present.
Could
Would the applicant like to come forward for a second?
Here, Carlson, could I please ask the applicant a question?
Good afternoon. Go ahead and state
Good
your name
afternoon.
first, please.
Yep, Scott Spiker, Clark and Anderson, 1010 Lincoln Mall. The applicant, Terry Logg, he is not available today. He is out of the state. I was a consultant working with him since January on this project. Spoke to him briefly before this. I can try my best to answer any questions how I feel he would, if you have any specific questions.
Okay, Mr. Spiker, thank you for representing the applicant today and knowing that this has been moving quickly today. And I know that there is a meeting coming up with the neighborhood association this week. So I'm going to make a rash assumption, and I'd like you to correct it. Is the applicant okay? Do you think the applicant would be okay delaying this for a week?
The applicant was strongly against delaying it a week. There's two businesses in the district that have timelines with building permits, alcohol permits. This has been a year and a half in the making, so there's some moving pieces. So a delay of a week would not be ideal for those reasons.
Can you explain a little bit about the liquor permits? Where are they in the process? And where are they in the process that 1 week would change their application?
Right. So I guess there's Carbon Coffee is they're undergoing a building permit to allow the use to do what they want to do would require this PUD to go through. So the building permit cannot be approved, is my understanding, until this goes through. Moran's, they have the tap room in the back. I guess I misspoke a little bit to say I don't know exactly where they are in the process, but we've been working with them. They were champions through this project. They've got things in the background going to finally open that room in the back. So delaying it a week, I can't say specifically how that would impact them, but I think the intent, working with them, that was the timeline we gave them, was the vote today. So it would be news to them if the vote was not today, and I don't know the extent of the impact that would bring to them.
Okay, I'm vaguely familiar with some of the permitting processes, and I don't know that the building permit and the liquor permit have to be in tandem with each other. I know liquor permits do go to the state and to the city, and I don't know if we've been tracking the application of that. I'm going to make eye contact with someone who might know, who might even be willing to come forward on the Moran's liquor application. I'm not sure. I was following on the A Street Market.
Yeah, so that was the other one with the A Street Market. I'm not entirely sure where that is in the process either, but the expectation that that we had from the beginning was the vote today. So
okay,
this would be news to them as well.
So I'm going to assume that the applicant would be not in favor of a 1 month delay.
Correct.
All right. Don't leave. Let me ask Investigator Parker where those applications are for liquor applications.
If I'm reading this correct, sorry, Investigator Parker, 575 South 10th Street. If I'm reading this correctly, and I could be wrong, I think once the PUD goes through, then that opens them up to actually allow for the full pours. So if I'm reading it correctly, there's nothing that they're going to have to do with the Liquor Commission.
Okay.
It would just be the city of Lincoln saying, hey, they got the PUD, they're good to go.
Okay, so 1 week from this week to next week, it's a timing issue on the permission from the city of Lincoln.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other questions.
Other questions?
I have a question, but I think I would, and I know this might be a little unusual, but I would like to ask Tracy Core a question.
Sure.
If that's okay.
Thank you, investigator.
Tracy Core, 1001 South 37th Street.
Tracy, you're very familiar with, how this whole process works. You served on the planning commission, and so you know this process more so than the average resident, right? Can you talk to me a little bit about why a 1 month delay would be more beneficial than the 1 week delay?
I sure would. For those of you that I may not know, as well as some of the others on here, I served on the planning commission for 11 years. I have been the chairperson of the Mayor's Neighborhood Roundtable since Mayor Sang was in office. So I do know, I appreciate Tom's comments about this is the 11th hour. I understand that, and my blood is boiling right now because this applicant did not reach out to the 40th and A Neighborhood Association, which comprises half of the PUD, at all. At all. And what further, that would be fine if I'm just a normal resident, but I served on the planning commission for 11 years. I am no stranger to the planning department or the city of Lincoln. I serve on many committees. The planning department comes and talks to the Mayor's Neighborhood Roundtable all the time about proposed projects. Not a single person reached out to me about this, especially the applicant. And furthermore, I stopped by in mid-March to Moran's because I found out on my own that Moran's had changed hands. So I went down there being neighborly and said, welcome to the neighborhood. If there's anything we can do for you, let me know. I talked to the manager. He told me at that time, because I was as surprised as everybody else that they were not operating with the proper permits. I have nothing against Moran's or their business. I wanted to establish a good relationship with them. He told me at that time that they were not interested in running the tasting room nor a bar. That was mid-March, folks. Maybe 1 week later, from reading all of the stuff in the planning department's websites, they had a neighborhood meeting right across from my house. Again, I was never notified. So I understand that this, I'm used to, the planning department here has a good record for working with both sides on the aisle and encouraging people to work together. And I'm really amiss at why this has not happened here. And I want to add one more thing to that. One of the longtime planning city staff people lives 2 blocks down the street from me. He knows my interests and he knows that I should have been contacted. It's very disappointing to me that the city has failed me in this way. Not only me, but my neighborhood. So I understand this is going to delay some of your plans, but it's not like we're building a new building that construction plans are going to have to be delayed. It's not that hard to get a liquor license. I think the neighborhood association would approve or appreciate a month so that we can work together on this instead of just being blindsided.
No, I appreciate your comments on that because, you were on the planning commission longer than all of us have been on the city council. And I know some of us were on the planning commission before, but, in your role for 11 years, you were there longer than we've been on city council. And so, you're not someone who doesn't know the rules and doesn't understand, the norms. You know what should happen and what should occur and to represent your neighborhood. And that's why, it was actually something you said earlier that really stuck in my head, Tom, where it was, this is a good thing. And if we have the opportunity to move forward with this and bring this to our city and to do this good thing, we have an opportunity to do right by the neighborhood and to make sure that we are creating a good process for this. And so I would like to put forward a motion to amend the motion from Tom's 1 week to the 14th. And I would like to make that as a motion to amend the amendment.
Can I
Go ahead.
When you second.
I'll second for this.
Motion's been made and seconded then to
Okay. Appreciate the motion
14th.
to amend, a motion to amend and the second, but we don't have rules that allow for a motion to amend the motion to amend. So what has to happen is that the motion to amend, number 2, has to fail before motion to amend 3.
I don't know if that's necessarily
I would like
true.
city law to come up on that.
Okay.
Because I thought we could do like 2 layers deep or something like that.
We've done it before and it was messy. but-
Well, I will just say in the past, we have done, I don't know what you said, 2 layers deep, but we have in the past, one motion to amend, the motion to amend, but not beyond that. It doesn't make any sense to go beyond that. I think the council rules, honestly, I think are probably silent, but if you look to Robert's rules, I think the more common way is that you are allowed to do one motion to amend the original motion to amend, but nothing beyond that. So, and then you can vote on that and then move to the next motion.
Could the person who made the first amended motion withdraw their motion?
So the council does have a rule on that, and since the motion has been made and there's been debate, it can be withdrawn by unanimous consent of the council. Since there's been debate, the mover can withdraw by unanimous consent, or you could also have a vote on it, obviously, and then it will be resolved that way as well.
All right, Councilman Weber.
So I just want to clarify, it is likely permissible.
I think we
to
have precedent
an amendment to an amendment.
Yeah.
And stop there,
Yes.
right? Yep.
We have, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Other discussion?
One more.
Yes, Councilman Show first, and then.
I would like to know what is the opposition to this project?
I
Yeah,
think that's
just.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Councilman
Yeah,
Weber.
thank you, Chair Carlson, and to respond, Councilman Duden, I believe that the, whole motion to delay is to be able to engage with the neighborhood association, with others who do not feel that they've had the adequate opportunity to provide their opposition to us. We've had correspondence from the neighborhood association outlining their issues, but I think that this is the point, whether it's 1 week or 1 month, the point is to have some more conversation about the concerns that the association has.
Yeah, and
Councilman Beckius first.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Chair Carlson. My intent of offering a 1 week delay is not to engage the neighborhood association at this point in time. It was simply to allow for the communication between the applicant and the association to occur. At this 11th hour, if we're looking at the possibility of delaying this for a month, then in essence what the council is saying is that you're looking for an opportunity to go back to the applicant and renegotiate with them. That's what you're saying, because otherwise I don't know what sort of feedback the neighborhood association is going to provide in 1 month that would ultimately change the outcome of the applicant, unless you're suggesting that we should re-enter public comment or public hearing and give them the opportunity to renegotiate something that has been going on through the city process for months, has been an open discussion for 1.5 years. I think that that's what we need to wrestle with in terms of, is that the process that you want to change for this applicant, and then subsequently, is that then the process that you want to change for every applicant or every person that has a problem with what's being suggested? We are truly at the 11th hour. My delay of 1 week was trying to provide an opportunity for these parties to meet. It was not to provide an opportunity to reopen negotiations with the applicant while this has been transpiring in a very public process through the Planning Commission and City Council for months. I just want to be clear as to why I was offering the 1 week delay. Thank you, Chair Carlson.
Thank you. Councilman Bowers?
Yeah, no, and I think my, response to that, because I hear what you're saying and about it being the 11th hour.
I wasn't looking for a response.
Oh, well, but I'm going to respond to it. So this is my response to that. But thank you for that commentary. We have a person that served on the Planning Commission longer than we've been in office, and her neighborhood association was not given communication about this occurring. And yeah, we're in the 11th hour, but when we're in the 11th hour and when we have discovered that something has not occurred, especially for a neighborhood that is in this PUD, they need to be given the opportunity to provide their input and provide their feedback. I don't know if they will be in opposition to it. I don't know if they're going to be supportive into it. But that's why it's important to reach out to the individuals who need to be at the conversation at the start of this, so that way there are no surprises. Because I'm a firm believer in no surprises, but this was a surprise. It's a surprise to find out that not every neighborhood in this PUD was notified, especially a neighborhood that's being represented by someone who served for 11 years on the Planning Commission, knows the rules, knows the regulations, and has seen this story played out multiple times.
Councilwoman Washington.
Thank you, Chair. When I heard that there was a neighborhood association, for whatever reason, had been left off the communication loop on this project, I can see why there is a need to have more conversation so that questions are answered. I understand where we are in the process, and I understand that this PUD process has given us an opportunity to look at another way of how we do development, or how development is initiated in Lincoln. I don't think it's a bad idea. I actually think it's a very creative idea. With that said, every neighborhood association who is impacted by this project should have an opportunity to speak. And they may have concerns, but I wouldn't say necessarily that they're all oppositional concerns. I think they have a lot of questions, and so I am more than willing to give them some space to have their questions answered, and I can support 1 week. I know that 1 week is very quick, but 1 week when there is a long record of information that was shared with the Planning Commission, with the Neighborhood Association, and there also is a meeting happening this Thursday. Ms. Kaur, I don't know whether or not your entire Neighborhood Association can come together and join into that meeting on Thursday, but there is a good opportunity there. And I'm hopeful that if everyone can't make it to that meeting, and there's another opportunity, that the applicant would do their best to address the 40th and A Neighborhood Association. I am taking into consideration the fact that Ms. Kaur has a lot of experience in this area, and that the 40th and A Neighborhood Association is fully half of the PUD. They take up half of the PUD, and so I want all the neighborhood associations who have a foothold in this to have equal opportunity to participate and give their input. I am not looking necessarily for changes to be made. I want the process to be comprehensive, so that if we go forward and use this as a model, we've got a good solid model to lean back on and say, communications was good. We have a way of making sure that everyone has an opportunity to speak.
Able to clarify one thing?
Go ahead and approach here, and
so
a
just
little rebuttal. So
sure, just communicating with the applicant. So to clarify, we recognize the 40th and A neighborhood is a majority of the district. We leaned on the city process with the planning department on that public outreach. So we reached every resident in there, and I believe it was 500 feet beyond. So I think there was 110 or so folks that were communicated with. So I guess I'm not sure if the miss was that we didn't reach out to a larger amount of people, and if that's the case, we were working with the city on that process, and we thought we were doing things the way that things ought to be done. So
thank you. Go ahead. Question.
Thank you. I think that seeing that the neighborhood association website, the address that on the city website for the neighborhood association was incorrect, and that's just it just turns right back and says can't be reached. The city itself made a mistake in labeling the email for the neighborhood association. That's why I am supportive of 1 more week.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions or discussion?
I think I'd just like to close on, this, and that is, we all agree that there was a miss on this. We all agree that the miss is that the neighborhood that makes up the majority of this PUD was not contacted about this. And that is being led by someone who understands the process and policies in a very deep way and has the competence and experience to understand what should have happened. And so they're being well guided. I think it's scary if we as a city start to say, well, just because there was a miss means that we are going to continue to push this through. Regardless of where that miss came from or where that mistake happened, I worry about the reputation that sets as a city where we start to do these changes without engaging neighborhoods that are in the PUD. And that is why I'm pushing for a month, because that is what they are asking for. It may have been public in other ways, but the planning commissioner was not reached out to, and her neighborhood was not reached out to. And I want to avoid the city developing that reputation or being able to use that as precedent later on. So I'm scared of the reputation that could develop if we move forward with making these changes to neighborhoods without engaging the neighborhood directly.
Chair Carlson?
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to ask Planning Director David Carey a question.
Thank you.
David Carey, Planning Director, 555 South 10th Street.
Thank you for coming forward, Mr. Carey. I understand that the neighborhood association may not have gotten a piece of mail, but I heard the applicant's representative today say that letters were mailed to homeowners in a certain distance. I know typically it's 200 or so, and I think I heard him say 500. Can you clarify the distance from the PUD or within the PUD where addresses or letters were mailed to homeowners?
Yes, so the standard, the requirement is 200 feet from the property that's under consideration for an action. And this effort did include an additional effort beyond that. So there were many more directly contacted property owners in the area of this proposed PUD. So this process did include significantly more direct outreach than would typically take place.
Okay, so even though the neighborhood association did not get a piece of mail, homeowners in an area greater than 200 feet, perhaps to 500 feet, got letters announcing the project and inviting them to the public meeting.
Yes, and so just to add to that, there was a well-attended public meeting at the end of March before this item proceeded to go through a formal process where there was a public hearing at Planning Commission and then there was a public hearing at City Council.
Okay, thank you.
Director, was there yard signs placed in this area also? Isn't that normal?
Yeah, I believe there was at least 10. They're the yellow zoning signs that were put up on the locations, the physical locations of an action.
Sure, that noticed that. And is notice placed in the newspaper also, or?
For what it's worth, if somebody's reading that, yes, that's a legal requirement that we notify in a public way that.
And also, there was an article in the paper about this too, if I remember. Do you recall reading that too? Okay, thank you.
Chair Carlson.
Councilman Beckett.
Thank you, Director Carey. The notice prescribed is typically 200 feet. In this circumstance, you've indicated, as has the applicant, that notice went above that 200-foot requirement that is a part of this process. Was that at the applicant's request, at planning's request, a mix of both? Why was that beyond the normal requirement?
Yeah, I believe there was a conversation early on in the process to try to make sure that this process and for this project, there was added level of effort for conversations about this. So I think that was part of that consideration earlier on, just to make sure that there was a lot of information being shared. And I believe the effort was, and the applicant's representative could correct me, I believe the effort was focused around that public meeting that took place at the end of March.
Thank you, Director.
Other questions for the Director? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, question
Go
for
ahead.
Mr. City Attorney.
All right.
It'll be fun.
I'll do the best I can. Go back and look at the video.
Yeah. Instant replay,
I think where we're at is, I mean, we had an original motion to amend. There was a second.
read by Sony.
Yep,
And
and then
then
there
no,
was
there's an
a-
original motion read by Sony. There was a motion to amend read by Mr. Beckius. Then a second motion to amend by Mr. Bowers. So we're,
Yes, yes. And I think,
Motion to delay.
yes. And I believe that both, Councilman Beckius got a second. There was debate. Then I believe that,
Bowers and Weber did this.
yes. So I think that we are on the
Where are we? Yeah.
Councilman Bowers' motion is where we're at.
Any
you,
other,
Deb.
any
Thank
other
you.
discussion now that we've clarified where we're at, too? All right, well, we'll proceed with calling the roll on Councilman Bauer's motion.
Which one do you
The
call
July
first?
Amendment to the amendment to the July 14th date.
Okay. Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Washington,
No.
Duden,
No.
Schob,
No.
Beckius,
No.
Carlson.
No.
Motion lost, 5-2.
All right, we'll now move to the next motion, which is a delay for
1
June
week.
30, too, correct?
Correct.
Please, go. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilman.
We're
Schob.
voting to delay the vote for 1 week, correct?
Correct.
Exactly. Thanks for that clarification. To delay the vote for 1 week to June 30.
Okay.
Go ahead and call the roll.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Okay. That concludes section 7. We shall move on to section 8. Resolutions first readings are items 8A through 8H. Ordinances first reading is section 9 with related resolutions are items 9A through 9I. And section 10 is our pending list, items 10A through 10C.
Chair Carlson, I would
Yes,
move
Councilman
adjournment.
Beckius.
I would move adjournment.
Did you
second
want to,
Oh,
wait, one moment, please. Yeah.
Yes.
Councilman Beckius.
thank you for the reminder, Chair Carlson. I really appreciate it. Before we go, I just wanted to recognize a former council member who passed away last week. Lloyd Hinckley served on the Lincoln City Council from 1961 to 1969 and then served again in 2012. Lloyd was a longtime advocate in our community for housing and was a longtime advocate in our community for what's known as open housing or desegregation of housing in our community as well. Lloyd served twice on the Lincoln City Council, and I just wanted to note his passing and wish his family our condolences.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
reminder, Chair.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Go ahead and call the roll.
Duden,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes,
Motion carried 7-0.
we are adjourned.